were waiting for, yeah. Marina, we were discussing you, and Sally was asking about you, and we promised that you would come.
Hi, Marina.
Sally, I'm always here, but I'm always muted and my camera is off because I'm
Hi.
doing something else.
Uh,
Following Alana because she's doing so well. Yeah,
wonderful.
she's my hero. Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you, and it's nice to meet Olena and her class.
And Julia, yes. So we are new
Yeah,
people.
both Alana and Julia, they are doing great job. They're developing what we have done, and our plan is to have the same course every year because this course is amazing.
Well, I hope you're recording this. I think it does say it's being
Yeah, we are
recorded.
doing this, of course. You can, by the way, you can get access to all the recordings. So I
Oh,
will
okay,
send
A
the
great.
link.
special site, yes,
Yeah,
site
we
with
have a
all the
website.
session materials, with all the recordings, so with all the Word documents, for example, so that I send and attach both in our Telegram chat, so and on this site. Yeah,
All right, wonderful.
Mhm.
This is, it's so great to know that this idea is being developed and they're doing it so gracefully.
Well, that's always wonderful to take something and improve on it and expand on it. And then you come out with something truly great. Yes.
We kind of add our own touch to it.
Well, that's
Yes.
Hopefully
important.
you will
That's
appreciate that.
important
Yeah.
to do. Yes.
Okay, so guys, so there are 26 of us, but there are four teachers. And so let me introduce Sally, our American colleague. So she's one of the developers of the course. So alongside with Marina, who has been talking right now, whom you already know perfectly well because she's constantly with us and quite supportive in whatever we do. So many thanks to all of you ladies for that job that you've done. As I've already mentioned, with Julia add our own touch to the course. So and hopefully our students and learners and all those present do appreciate that. Yeah, I'd like to start as usual with some kind of a mood checker. This time I will ask you a funny question. So if your mood were the food, what would it be? Because I constantly start asking the students using different mood checkers. This time it goes about food. So, Marina, you are ready to answer what? No?
No. I just wanted again to add to everyone that you know about Sally and you know about this course. But every time I am asked about the job that Elena and Julia have done, I say that this is so different. And this job is so like you deepened what we have done. And thank you again for this.
Thanks a lot. Many thanks to you. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, Хачапuri with cheese and raw egg. Tanya Vasilkivska. So, Georgian, so typical Georgian food. So, could you please give comments? So, does it mean that you kind of have a mixture of feelings today, or what?
Sorry. No, I'm just hungry right now. That's it.
Oh, sorry to hear that. So you'll be able to to eat something or to have a meal after the class, or perhaps during the class. Who knows? We don't see you. Then Katerina Berezhna. So you've mentioned raisins, the unusual choice. Why?
I guess because I'm tired and exhausted, but I keep working anyway.
So it means that you look like raisin. You're not
Yeah.
talking about the taste of it. Yeah. Then hamburger, Шаврова Людмила. Людочка. Люда.
Okay, so I can say that I'm an empathetic person because in different situations I have different moods, and even people can keep smiling. I can cry because some situation can influence on my mood. So yeah, that's all.
Then kvass, so a typical Ukrainian beverage, Anastasia, yeah? Why
Yes.
kvass?
It's just so hot recently, and I'm not used to getting this hot weather in April or May, whatever, but still it's really hot. So yes, and my mom bought actually us kvass. So yes, I'm just enjoying this drink.
Okay, perfect. And two more ladies, Maria and Dasha, so have similar answers, but so the difference is that Maria mentioned ice, Dasha mentioned lemon ice cream. Ladies?
But it's not ice cream. I mean the literal ice, like ice cubes. Just because I like crunching them, and yeah, I think I understand it is terrible or something like that for some people. No, but still, I like it, and maybe because of this,
Okay, so
this
okay.
something like strange mood.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for not being afraid. So remember that whenever you are asked of something, whatever you will say will be always appreciated. Yeah, because we are here to hear from each other, to learn from each other. Okay, and let's get started our today's class. It will be, as you already know, thanks to our pre-session materials dedicated to classroom management. Okay. In our chat, could you please give comments? So this can be kind of bull points as to what you personally understand by classroom management. Your ideas. Let us brainstorm, generate the ideas on classroom management. What's this? Rely on what you already know, you know a lot. Aha, so TTT, teacher talking time. Am I right? Then, is it?
Yes, of course, teacher talking time. That's one of my problem. Right now I'm just wanted to avoid this problem in my like tutoring sphere because I think on the other hand it's really bad when teachers always time just talking, 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 talking. So, and if you're talking with you about class management, right? So that's one sphere that's we need to pay attention to on it. So and teacher talking time. So yeah, this is key.
Okay, so perfect. So thank you for this, for mentioning this. That's one of the problems all the teachers, especially novice ones, experience. Yeah. Then Afroza, R. So 5 Rs. Are you talking about that article you were offered to read? Is it about this?
Yes, it is about this, about responsibilities, rights, relationships, rules, and routines in the class
Okay.
for better management.
Yeah, so thank you for remembering. Yeah, so you've really recollected all these 5 Rs. Yeah, positive relationships. So Katya, give comments.
No, the key point is for me because if you're positive, if you are friendly, like your class, your lessons, so all techniques, all R's will work.
Thanks a lot. Victoria, interactions are mentioned.
Yep, I mean, just like interactions between students and teacher and students, like different patterns.
Okay. And set, two more ladies. So yeah, have provided us with their answers. Daria says that it's setting rules in the classroom. And Halina states that it's about developing a nurturing environment. Okay, ladies, who'd like to comment? So one of you. Halina, okay, maybe you.
Yeah, so I can comment on. So I believe that managing classroom management is about developing a nurturing environment because we need to create some comfortable conditions for our students. And so as a result, they will feel free to study and they will feel comfortable and it will improve their relationships. So it's connected with what girls already mentioned. And so it may influence the results that they have of in their studying.
So yeah, a nice explanation was provided by you. Thank you. So more or less, we managed to mention quite a lot of elements or quite a lot of notions, concepts associated with classroom management. If talking about the definition of this concept, I would tell you that it's like it goes about taking moment by moment decisions and actions that concern concerning organization of the classroom activities. Yeah, so that's what is meant by classroom management. But you were on the right road because all of you mentioned different aspects of this problem that we are going to discuss today. Okay, let me share my screen. And right now we will deal with what I've prepared to you. I believe that the information perhaps is not quite new since a lot of you are undergraduate students, some of you are even novice teachers, and that's why I believe that you know a lot. That's why today we will be discussing and remember that it's never a lecture, it's never lecturing, it's just eliciting, discussing, sharing, cascading knowledge. So being a teacher, and trying to manage the classroom environment, you need to manage a lot of things. Still, there are some things that we just cannot control, whereas there are those that we can and should control. Right now, I will ask you to react by showing your thumbs up if it's something that you consider a teacher should control, or at least something that a teacher can control, and thumbs down if you consider that it's something the teacher cannot control or shouldn't control. Okay, available space. Is it something that a teacher can control? Available space. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay. So comments from you. Alina, could you please?
So I believe that the teacher is a person who can arrange the space in appropriate way and give students all the opportunities to feel comfortable.
Okay, thank you. Then lesson content comes the next. Lesson content. Remember, you need to react. Lesson content. Okay. Victoria?
Yep, I think it is the main thing that the teacher can control, by the way. Students do not regulate, what they are going to study. So I think it's rather obvious.
Okay, so definitely that's an obvious thing. So thank you. The weather. The weather. Can we as teachers or cannot we control this? Oh, Katerina, you were among the first to respond. Could you please give comments on this? Because quite in a lot of situations, the unwillingness of our students to work in the classroom is explained by the weather, by bad weather phenomena. What can you tell us here?
Yeah, that's true, but unfortunately, we cannot control the weather, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Should we take into account the weather and the way it influences the moods of our learners?
I think yes, but not all the time because they will use it like for maybe for some reasons.
As an excuse all the time.
Yes, as
Yeah.
an excuse. Yeah, but in general, yes, because even I understand that sometimes when it is raining or snowing, I don't want to do anything. So I can understand my students, my learners.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for mentioning. Then natural abilities or disabilities of your learners. Natural abilities or disabilities. For example, there are some learners who are quite good at English, but there are those, for example, who kind of struggle with some other subjects, or even if talking about a foreign language, let it be English again. So there are some who are good at reading, but bad at listening, or vice versa. So natural abilities or disabilities, can we or cannot we control it? A difficult question to consider, yeah? Still, react. No one is willing. Halina, could you please?
Yeah, so we can't control, we can't influence, like if it's a natural abilities or disabilities, but I believe that a good teacher can use the information about their students in order to maybe create like special conditions or encourage students to develop some abilities that they are good at, yeah, and as a result, like improve the level of knowledge or like improve skills of the students.
Okay. Yeah, if, for example, our students have some disabilities, especially physical disabilities, unfortunately, we cannot influence them and so do anything. We just need to be flexible as teachers and get adjusted to the situation. But no one says that we as teachers cannot do anything to change the situation for better, for just for providing our learners with an opportunity to improve or to develop, for example, to, at least to some extent, the skills that they already have. Then, classroom size and furniture. If, according to the schedule, you are going to be in a particular room, Darina.
We can't control it, but I think that we can adapt to it. Like we can use different seating arrangement, or we can maybe propose to use less or more furniture in the classroom.
You mean that in case or on condition that so classroom furniture is movable, that's a
Yeah.
great idea, yeah, to change the arrangement if it's not fixed, of course, on condition that it's not fixed,
Yeah.
to change it to adapt to the needs of a particular class. Thanks a lot for this suggestion. Then rules of behavior. Rules of behavior. Halina.
Yeah, I wanted to put my thumb up, but I mixed the emoji. So for sure, teacher can control rules of behavior, and I believe that the teacher is a person who has to set some rules at the first lesson of the year, for example, and discuss these rules with the students. Maybe even to come up with these rules together, and then like control how students follow these rules during the study.
Yeah, and rules, that's such a thing that so should be established. So from the very first lesson, it's cool. It's cool if the teacher, for example, when the teacher brings a poster, and so the rules are written. So like this poster is hanging all the time or hangs all the time on the wall, so that they could remember it perfectly well, what is allowed and what is not allowed to do in the classroom. Yeah, thank you. Mutual respect. Mutual respect. Is it a phenomenon that can be somehow influenced, controlled? Okay, Victoria.
Of course, I think it can be regulated as there are some occasions, for example, when students do not have this mutual respect for each other, and I guess that we as teachers may influence this situation. We again may set up some rules, create some sort of lessons that can help us to provide this respect, yet this atmosphere of mutual respect, because we, in some ways, we may teach it, and as people, we may learn it, yeah.
Definitely. So sometimes when we are talking about these offline lessons, or for example, face-to-face interaction, and when we introduce kind of mingling activities, it can happen that hyperactive students or hyperactive learners so may not show this mutual respect by pushing and showing all the people around, by pretending that they are better than the rest, and you as a teacher should so keep control of the situation and do everything possible so that these learners should provide and so should experience mutual respect under the circumstances. Okay, group dynamics. So, or the pace, in other words. By dynamics, we mean the pace at which some activities are done. Group dynamics. Victoria?
It's hard to answer actually, but I guess it can be controlled by the teacher, or at least the teacher may motivate the student, help and lead in some ways. Because I understand, for example, even as I am a student, yeah, the teacher sometimes enters the room, yeah, and she helps us with the difficulties that occur. And that's why it increases our motivation, and some ideas spread, and that helps us to boost yep, all this atmosphere of productiveness.
Okay. Still, that doesn't mean that a teacher should rush the students into doing something, yeah? But in case, for example, if sometimes time is allotted, the students should more or less stick to it. But if you see as a teacher that so all the students need more time, much more time, then perhaps it's better to kind of like sacrifice some activity or activities or postpone them for the next class, and you'd better as a teacher give more time, for example, yeah, so that your students you could be as a teacher you could be fully aware of it to be properly done, but all the same, so that the students shouldn't be passive, they should be active, and there should be some dynamics preserved in the classroom. Then variety of content. Halina?
Yeah, I believe that it's connected with the lesson content. So of course, the teacher can influence it, and I think it's up to the teacher to use just a book or come up with some additional materials, perhaps find authentic text and audio, create some exercises on different platforms. And of course, the second option is much more, it's much better. So yeah, we can influence it, and we should take into account this aspect.
Thanks a lot. Many thanks to you. Pupils' previous experiences and home environment. Pupils' previous experiences and home environment. Is it something that the teacher can influence? Is it something that a teacher can control? Cannot, yeah, cannot. So the same people are talking. I'd like to hear more from the rest of you. Yeah, so just keep participating. I do appreciate. Okay, Katerina, may this time it will be you.
Okay, so it's a pity that we don't have such reaction like 50-50. Because I agree and disagree at one time, and I think we can influence a little bit by maybe reflection technique, and if it is something really like important, something happened, and you see that your learner frustrated, exhausted, we can ask for help, maybe psychologist or principal the school.
So
help.
it doesn't mean that the teacher, for example, shouldn't take into account what's going on, so at the student's home. Still, on the other hand, for example, we shouldn't, as teachers, intrude too much into some personal space of our students. Yeah. So like you should kind of monitor, and in case if needed, in case if you see that a particular student is waiting for your help, for your assistance, for some help from you on behalf of you, then perhaps you can intrude, but you should be very careful as to not to hurt the feelings, not to humiliate the student, as well as not to humiliate, for example, the family a person lives in. Okay, we will skip lesson pace as it's kind of overlapping with group dynamics, but I'm particularly also interested in motivation of the class. That will be the last issue for us to discuss. So yeah, from the slide. Motivation of the class. So thumbs up or thumbs down. Halina was the first. Could you please?
Of course, the teacher can influence the motivation of the class, as it's a person who can encourage students, praise them for some good results and achievements. And I think that a good teacher should be aware of some motivation techniques, and different ways of praising students for them to feel comfortable and feel encouraged and be involved in the lesson all the time.
Okay, so a perfect answer. Thanks a lot. Ira Mustafa, so I've noticed that you raised your hand right after I announced or nominated a person, so who was already talking. Okay, could you please add something if there is anything you'd like to add, of course? Lira?
Sure. So it's obvious that we can control it because we do a lot of exercises to motivate, so we do something more interesting. So of course.
Yeah, so perfect. So thanks a lot. And special thanks to all those who actively participated in the activity, not just waited for too long, so to either show their thumbs up or thumbs down to this activity. Okay, and we are gradually moving to the constituents or the elements of classroom management. If talking about them, I cannot but mention that they are grouping and seating, activities, authority, rapport, working with people, tools and techniques, and critical moments. So just have a look at this slide of mine once again and tell me, please, if the meaning of all the words, of all these headings is familiar to you. If the meaning of all the words is familiar to you. Okay, who'll tell me what rapport stands for? Rapport.
Like relationships.
Yeah, so that's positive atmosphere, yeah? Rapport means establishing positive atmosphere in the classroom. Okay, as for the meaning of the other words and word combinations, I believe that's just more or less clear to you. If so, right now we will assign you with Yulia Yurievna to work in breakout rooms. You'll have, there will be 7 groups and 7 minutes. Each group will be responsible for their own element. As we have 7 groups, each of you will be responsible for your own element. Group 1, be responsible for grouping and seating. Group 2, activities. 3, authority. 4, rapport. 5, critical moments. 6, tools and techniques. And 7, working with people. What do you need to do? You'll need to think about the content under this heading. What exactly should the teacher know about these elements? Yeah, the content or concepts under the headings. So, Lera Mostova, could you please tell me what do you need to do?
So we need to explain what we have under these headings.
Yeah, what is meant by these headings. Okay. Yulia Yurievna, could you please?
So we're ready to start. Welcome.
Okay, we're back again. I believe everyone is with us. Okay, so right now I will share the screen again and just a moment. I'd like to elicit that from you. Groups, we had 7 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So could you please now just collect yourselves and think of who would like to present your ideas, on what stands behind these headings. Grouping and seating, we'll start with that because so it's the first item here, grouping and seating. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't be shy. Are you scared because we are visited by more people today than usual? So, okay, Lilia, yeah, you're welcome.
So our group decided that by grouping and seating, they mean that just teachers are to decide who should go to certain groups, and they decided on just whether some student, for example, some students can have weak proficiency and others some strong proficiency. So this is really important. And also, I revised some moments from my school. I remember that, especially in primary school, it was really important to change rows and seats because it can influence some health like issues, eyesight and so on. So it's also teachers' role to decide.
Yeah, so thanks a lot for mentioning this health issue. That's quite essential. I do understand it, and I do know that in my son's class, they're having a couple of learners who are in the bad need of being placed always at the first desks just because of having poor eyesight, and it's deteriorating all the time. Yeah, that's why I do understand what you are talking about. Then, so that's what. And you also mentioned one interesting idea, but somehow you did not develop it. You said that there can be some weak students and some students who have a greater level of proficiency. Knowing this, how should a teacher act? What should be done? If we have like different categories of students, how can it influence seating and grouping?
Yeah, so teachers must be sure that in each group there are some students who are leaders. Yes, so they will help a group to work, and so to inspire this peer teaching. Yes, so they will interact and not just sitting in silence, and nobody will take an initiative like this.
So it means that we need to kind of like couple them together, so or ask them, invite them to work in groups with the one person being a leader and the rest, for example, borrowing kind of knowledge from him. So it means cascading knowledge, so it happens this way. So thank you for mentioning, thank you for developing the idea. Then activities. What should we know here as teachers? What should we remember about? Group 2.
If I may, we thought about the following activities: that while having a class, you are giving new material. That's one of activities. You can be asking questions to understand the level of knowledge on previous topics. That's the other one. Another one. Also, you could give a written test. Let's say you can give an instruction. That was one of the activities suggested by the group members. And also you set time limits when you give tasks. For example, you give a time limit for a listening task, or the number of times you give this record, you play the record, and you set the limit of times the recording is played.
You mean that they should stick to the time limits? Yeah, so if the time is allotted, they should kind of like stick to it, because otherwise, what for should we allot this time? Yeah. Then sequencing of activities should be mentioned here as well. Then different types of activities. You already enumerated that, but you just did not frame that into these words. So I would help you a bit. So it's about also using different kinds of types of activities. And Marina is raising her hand. Obviously, she has something to add here. Marinchka, you're welcome.
Yeah, so all the activities also should be engaging, motivating, and level appropriate. Also, of course, clear instructions, clear tasks, goals, and time limits. And of course, we should follow our lesson plans and make different lessons to develop all the language skills.
Okay. So what theory will be applicable here in the context of this activities notion or concept? The theory of comprehensible
input.
So thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you. You recollected that because that's what we discussed during the previous classes of ours. Yeah, so perfect job. Then authority, group 3. Halina?
Yeah, so our group discussed that authority is about establishing rules and organizing studying process. And accordingly, it is a teacher who develop nurturing environment, providing comfortable conditions for students. And here we mentioned an important point in our opinion that a teacher should give freedom to students for them to feel free to express different ideas, to feel comfortable and not be afraid of participating in different discussions. And a teacher should be a friend, but there is a fine line between being a friend and an authority for a student. That's why a good teacher should keep this balance. And feel this fine line. And besides, it's great when a teacher can be a counselor for students. So in case they have any problems or difficulties, they can ask for help and to get some valuable pieces of advice. And of course, it's about providing mutual respect and teaching children how to do this and control this issue.
Yeah, authority, that's about rights, responsibilities, about rules to be established in the classroom. And thank you for mentioning that in spite of the fact that we as teachers should be democratic and that we should, for example, be supportive, it doesn't mean being too familiar with the students, because there are some red lines that should never be crossed. So thank you for mentioning this idea. That was great. Rapport, group number 4, that was your task. Елизавета?
Rapport is about having a good understanding of students and the ability to communicate well with them, to understand their feelings, interests, and attitudes. As it's very important for building good relationships, a comfortable atmosphere in class, discipline, and a desire to study.
Okay, so it's quite important. Thanks a lot. Katerina, would you like to add something to this rapport category?
Yeah, a little bit because we highlight key features like mutual respect, open communication, positive classroom atmosphere, as we told already, and the trust and empathy. So,
So thank you, great job. Then critical moments. So that's element number 5, and the 5th group was responsible for it. Afruza, you're welcome.
Critical moments are important or difficult situations that happen during a lesson. For example, it can be a conflict between students, technical problem in class, student doesn't want to answer, or students don't understand the task. For the first one, conflict between students, for example, 2 students argue or don't want to work together. the teacher can stay calm and ask what happened, and it is important to listen to both of them. Then the teacher can give them different roles in the task, and if the problem continues, the teacher can change the pairs or groups. The second technical problem, if the internet, video, or projector doesn't work, the teacher should stay calm and continue the lesson. And for this example, a good idea is to have a second plan, like using the board or given discussion task, and even you can show picture from a phone. Students can also work in pairs or talk about the topic. And students don't understand the task. If students look confused after instructions, the teacher can give an example or do the first part of the task together with the class. And also teacher can write short steps on the boards or ask one student to explain the task to others.
Mhm. So we can ask instruction checking questions in case if we see that the critical moment was caused by them being unable to understand your instructions. Yeah, we should have plan B. Thank you for mentioning this, because so anything can happen. And may I ask you one more question, because like in the context of what you've presented, just that's what I now having in my head. So do you think that we have more problems, issues, or like hiccups whenever we are talking about offline or online lessons? What's your personal point of view? Where do we have
Yes,
more problems?
yes, I
Where?
think so. Because when we talk about online classes, students are more mm, they do not engage so much as in offline. But in when the lessons are offline, the students can be a little naughty, I can say. So, yeah.
So being in the offline classroom means being in a noisy environment. Though
Yes, yeah.
working with online students sometimes means working with some invisible students. Yeah. So
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah, I think so.
Thanks a lot for mentioning it. Yeah. Thank you. That was great. Yes. So such a profound and deep explanation on behalf of you. Yeah. Then tools and techniques, group 6. Victoria?
Probably I will represent my group. So as for tools and techniques, I think that these things are used to create an organized, like productive and respectful learning environment. And talking about techniques, these are the methods and approaches usually teachers use to maintain order and promote engagement. For example, I've mentioned some ideas in the group, like it can be preventive techniques, supportive techniques, and corrective techniques, as just for example. And talking about tools, these are the resources, either physical or digital, that help manage the classroom effectively. And here we may mention, for example, visuals, posters, books, everything that comes in handy to make the lesson productive and just brilliant.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. And the last one, so from group 7. So let's listen from group 7 what they think about working with people. So, and what it presupposes, what kind of knowledge.
Okay, I can present. So, in the context of classroom management, working with people refers to how teacher interacts with students, firstly, but also I think it's important to mention that it's also about like good relationships with colleagues and parents also, because it helps to create a positive, structured, and supportive learning environment. And in our group, we have talked about that it's very like it's important for a teacher to kind of feel and adapt to students' pace and temperament because a teacher can see and be flexible with teaching styles to suit different learners. Also, teacher role is here to support collaboration because especially when it's like being in new class for students it can be like hard to work together, and teacher is a person who organizes work and who helps and teach how to work together to build a supportive environment and to teach like to work in teams and pairs in different modes of interaction.
Yeah, well done, great job. It seems to me that you even surpassed my expectations. So let us check if we managed to mention everything that I've prepared, but it seems to me that you know even a lot more. So if talking about grouping and seating, we were talking about different modes of interaction. I believe so that everything was mentioned. If talking about activities, so I added that we should take into consideration sequencing. Also, we need to take into account monitoring, yeah, because one of the roles of the teacher in the classroom, even when the group pair work or any other kind of work is already established, so the teacher shouldn't just vanish all the time, or for example, so pretend that he's not physically in the classroom. Yeah. So in case if like his kind of intrusion is not needed, then of course you can just keep calm and do not intrude. But in most of the cases, so the teacher's role is narrowed to monitoring when the students are working in groups, bus groups, pairs, and whatnot. And we should be in the know how to bring an activity as well as the lesson to an end, because summing up the lesson is a great idea that the teacher shouldn't forget about. Authority goes, as you already mentioned, about rights and rules, getting students to do something, deciding or delegating the people who would talk, yeah. As well as it deals with gathering and holding their attention, because one of the responsibilities of the teacher is not only to draw the students' attention, but for example, to hold it throughout the activity as well as throughout the class. Rapport means being empathetic, positive, non-judgmental, an active listener. Yeah, you've mentioned it. Critical moments with Afruza, it seems to me, yeah, it was Afruza, we discussed more than I even presented here on the slide. Talking about tools and techniques, we just did not mention how to use the board, and so we just said that we as teachers need to use any equipment available we have. And by the way, here we have one interesting phrase that I would like to draw your attention to. It's use of silence. So even silence should be meaningful, yeah. And in case if you are teaching, for example, your learners how to present dialogical speech, how to develop their dialogical speaking skills, then you should provide them with some linkers, some words of how to feel and feel the pauses and how to make them pregnant ones. Yeah, so that's why silence can be meaningful. Remember about it. And working with people, also presupposes eliciting honest feedback, not only on behalf of the teacher, but from the students as well. Yeah, and so all the rest has already been discussed. Yeah, thanks a lot. Now, we will kind of stop on some issues or just some of the concepts that are of great importance to the teacher, to the students, and to the general organization of the work in the classroom. So, and currently I'd like to proceed to seating. Yeah, so you've mentioned seating. So very first group were responsible for it. You told me that it's highly essential for the teacher to be in the know who are weak and strong students are, so that we could kind of like group them together. Also, it presupposes like perhaps even seating like the students in such a way so that they could feel comfortable and so that they could be as supportive of each other as possible. So here in the picture, so if you just sit to the left corner of it, so I would say even to the center, yeah. Here we can see the traditional arrangement or a traditional row seating. It's kind of straight seating. And we have some alternative seating arrangements in the pictures, so to the right, kind of horseshoe arrangement, circle arrangement, then arrangement of the desks, so when the students kind of like face each other. Which of these arrangements do you consider to be the most effective one, and why? Which of these arrangements do you consider to be the most effective one, and why? Alexandra?
Of course, traditional arrangement is comfortable and interesting and understandable for our pupils. But when I was in practical courses at school, I tried to do a circle arrangement, and it was also very comfortable, also very interesting, because pupils can see each other and speak not only verbal and non-verbal too. And sometimes it was really funny, so we can create some interesting tasks for them. For example, you can show your interest, or you can show your mood by non-verbal communication, etc. So I think it's really comfortable.
So yeah, horseshoe and circle. So circle arrangements, that's what you tried during your school internship, as far as I've understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horseshoe, that's what you would like to give a try. Yeah. So it seems to me Afruza like wanted to mention something, but currently I do not see your hand raised. That's, perhaps I'm giving the floor to Halina.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add that if we use this circle arrangement and that one that is under it, yeah, so it's easier to organize group work, as we don't need to ask students to move from the desks. Yeah, they can just sit closer, yeah, and do some activities. And there is no this, hustle and bustle in the class when they go and try to find their seats, and they take the things with them. So it's much faster and easier.
Yeah, so it's faster and easier, especially if the like desks in the room are already placed this way. Okay, Katerina, so anything to be mentioned?
Yeah, I prefer horseshoe like arrangement because we can see each other like student easily change and group up, so and desks are easier to move in this position, I think. And the teacher can see every student and they won't hide. No.
Okay, where do you see the teacher in such a row arrangement? So you've mentioned that there are some more effective, less effective row arrangements. So you've mentioned like what they are, but where do you see the teacher in the classroom? Standing in front, in the center, striding so to and fro or along the aisle. Where do you see the teacher?
In all the positions.
Okay, how much time should be dedicated to all these positions?
But usually we change our position from time to time, but as in the first picture, I guess, like in front of the students, usually. But if learners present something, that we can move to the back side.
Yeah, so kind of exchange. So
Yeah,
exchange
exchange.
exchange the position. Yeah, if talking about this very first picture that I started our talk with, so is it a totally bad one? Yeah, it's a traditional one. That's what we have in most of the classrooms, especially at our Ukrainian schools. So, and currently, as we now have to, as we have some other pictures to compare, yeah, this traditional arrangement to some other ideas. So still here comes the question. Is there everything bad about it? Or are there any pluses if talking about such an arrangement? Darina.
I would not say that it's really so bad, especially as it presented now. The like teacher is in front of, and he or she can easily move. And also it's comfortable for students to move because they can easily like stand up from their places. Also, I would say that it's good one we used to eat, but maybe it depends of the task. All like sitting arrangements, it depends of our aim of the lesson and of the tasks.
And like all of you have overlooked one important factor. That's the number of students, ladies and gentlemen. Because, for example, if you have classes or just forms consisting of 30, 40 something students, then how can you arrange all the desks like this in the shape of the horseshoe or circle, for example? Yeah, that would be simply impossible. That's why. So let's hope for better. That so all our all the groups, especially those groups aimed at learning English, will be much smaller. But our Ukrainian realia, yeah, especially so in the context of this wartime period, prove that sometimes so this traditional arrangement, that's the only option that we can allow like to ourselves. Yeah, unfortunately. So still, let's hope for better times to come. Still, we have some movable seating arrangements, some more arrangements like enemy corners, when, for example, the students are placed in different corners of the room. They can can be invited to work in pairs just on condition that the seats or just the desks are movable. Yeah, movable. They can be asked to work in opposing teams, and you see this arrangement in picture 3. Or they can work face to face, standing in a line. Yeah, so in our practical classes at the university, at least I know that for sure, because so me and my colleagues, we often practice this kind of sitting arrangement. So, and like the students are no longer scared of just seeing each other face to face. This can be kind of a panel seating arrangement, a public meeting arrangement, bus groups when you are mingling, especially for the activities like find someone who, and you are constantly changing your partners. I especially like to note down the time here so that my students could have from like 30 seconds to 1 minute for like mingling and for finding that out. Or this can be kind of like wheels arrangement that you know more like onion rings activity, when we have some inner circle and the outer circle, and like the partners are kind of moving. Yeah, so moving so that so all the time you have a different partner to discuss something with them. Yeah. So I prepared this question. So where should the teacher stand? So partly we've already mentioned. So that the teacher, yeah. So throughout during the lesson, so changes the positions, and it's great to have this balance. Yeah. So not to not to sit being frozen, for example, to the spot. The teacher shouldn't also like move all the time. So he definitely shouldn't tower over the students, because so he will be dominating. So, and all the students should feel comfortable. That's why. So a bit of sitting, a bit of walking, a bit of, for example, monitoring. So everything should be in balance in the classroom. Okay. So, and I would also like to just to focus our attention on this last slide dedicated to sitting arrangement. Here I've prepared some questions. Should a teacher participate, monitor, or vanish? What do you think? So, which of the verbs will be the most suitable one if talking about the role of the teacher in the classroom? Alexandra?
I think that teacher should participate, especially if it's classroom games. And for teenagers, for example, it's really interesting. And but a teacher shouldn't be in the one group. For example, it was enemy corner, and teacher shouldn't be in such a one of them corner, because it can provide some misunderstanding with another children, I think. But yeah, teacher should participate.
So it's great. I know that for sure, because from time to time, so I act as a partner for my students. So, or I am a partner in some groups, in some games. So, and they do appreciate a teacher acting as if being in the shoes of the student. Yeah, that's why participation is highly welcome. Still. So can the verbs monitor and vanish be applicable to the situation in the classroom? Anna.
I think that it depends because teacher should keep balance between like participating when it's really necessary or to monitor when during, for example, the practice. So the teacher should do it, but he also should just step back when he needs to vanish and when he feels like his students can like independently speak and do all these things.
Yeah. So thanks a lot. So just on condition that you've provided them with clear instructions, you know for sure you've already monitored and you see that they can cope with the tasks on their own quite independently, kind of vanish for a couple of minutes. Yeah, disappear, pretend that you're not here, let them be fully independent. But in case if you see that they need your help, do monitor, do come to them, do so provide you assistance. Yeah, because you are the teacher and so they are waiting for some help from you. That's why it should be a great scaffolding, but not spoon feeding. Always remember about it. Okay. Now I have one more interesting activity. I hope you will like it. Yeah. So there will be the sentences that deal with another problem that Tanya, one of our participants, has mentioned at the very beginning of our session. She said, "I just cannot do anything about this teacher talking time. I keep on talking and talking and talking all the time." So let us check. So if you are well aware of what is student talking time and teacher talking time, and so let us check how well aware you are of these concepts in general. So there will be kind of game, but we will participate in it all together. Yeah, so there will be kind of whole class, the game for the whole class. We'll need to distribute the statements into two columns, either student talking time or teacher talking time. Итак, so modeling how to pronounce a word.
Teacher.
Люда. So
Teacher.
it's, yeah, definitely. It's the time for the teacher to speak. Giving feedback on classroom activities.
Teacher.
Okay. Working in pairs and asking questions.
Student.
The time for the student to talk. Debating or negotiating meaning in groups.
Students.
Giving instructions for the next activity.
Teacher.
Teacher. Okay. Reflecting in a peer feedback loop. Peer feedback loop. Pay attention to this word combination. Students, definitely. So yeah, because feedback, as I already mentioned, perhaps like not all of you have just were attentive enough just to hear that, but I already mentioned that feedback can be provided not necessarily or not only by the teacher. So students can and may participate in it. Framing a cultural context. when you kind of equip the pupils with the
Teacher.
knowledge, yeah,
Teacher.
cultural background, cultural context, deep understanding, yeah, of it. Perhaps you clarify like what stands behind a particular geographical name or the name of some kind of dish, especially if it's a dish from English-speaking countries and the students have never like tasted it. Yeah. Then discussing
Students.
pros and cons with group mates, definitely. It shouldn't exceed 30% of classroom talk.
Teacher.
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 Definitely. That's why, so from this, you can infer a conclusion that how much time should the students talk?
70%.
Definitely. Yeah, by pure calculation, you've done that. Demonstrating higher level functional language.
Teacher.
Teacher.
Yeah. Telling your partner about a time you felt proud, sharing the knowledge.
Student.
Student.
Okay, yeah, and let us check. Yeah, perfect. So well done. So everything was quite correct. Thanks a lot. That's high time for us now to deal with one more concept, instructions. To be quite frank with you, so these were two concepts that I had to work hard on while doing my CELTA course. One was giving instructions. The other one dealt with teacher talking time. Yeah. So that's why I tried desperately to cut down on the like amount of information I presented myself as a teacher. Yeah, hopefully I improved. If talking about the instructions should possess some characteristics that can be like kind of presented with the help of the acronym SMART. Now, I would like you to leave some comments in the chat as to what characteristics these letters stand for. What characteristics of instructions these letters stand for. And we have a person who already raised your hand. That's Alexandra. You are welcome.
Yes, and specific, measurable, attainable, results oriented, and time-bound.
Aha, yeah. So yeah, so still I believe that's yeah, thank you for mentioning it. But I believe because here I can see that we have some students who've mentioned short, specific, then measurable, action-oriented, and reasonable. Thanks a lot. So okay, we have kind of like problems with time-bound. Time-bound. Thanks a lot. Ludmila has mentioned that. And let us check what I've prepared, but all of you were on the right road. Yeah, it should be simple and short, as well as short. It should be memorable also. Actionable. So what does it mean to be actionable? It means that your students should be in the know, yeah, after you've presented the instructions, what to deal with, what to do. Then responsive, because when you give the instructions, it should evoke some reaction in your students. So they should be willing to act and respond and so and do what you ask them about. And timely. Timely. It means, so not only that it should be time-bound, but timely also stands for being given at the appropriate time. Because if the instructions are provided after the student started dealing with the task or not in the right moment, they have no value. Actually, they have no value. So whenever we are talking about giving successful instructions, so we can come up with 5 steps to making them successful. Step number 1 says that you as a teacher should be well aware of your own instruction. It means that you need to kind of think how to frame everything in the words. Sometimes, if you are an EVIS teacher, it presupposes even like looking in the mirror, yeah, and presenting these instructions like as if you were addressing someone or some audience in the mirror. Or recording yourself so that you could hear and, for example, check what to cut down on, what to improve, what to add. Then you should pre-plan essential instructions. For this, you need to use clear language, short sentences, and you should avoid giving some extra or unnecessary information. Instructions should be separated from some chatting, because I do know some teachers who keep on giving instructions, so mixing them up with jokes. They are cracking jokes. They keep on talking, giving personal examples, and so on and so forth. That won't do. So set a clear instruction. Let them deal with the task, and while providing a feedback, you can kind of crack a joke. You can, for example, chit-chat with them, whatever. If it's possible, and whenever possible, avoid explanation in case if you can demonstrate what you want to say, because it will be remembered better, yeah? So what is provided as a visual aid will always be remembered better than verbal words. And check whether your students have understood what you want them to do. But avoid asking question, do you understand what you need to do? Because the students will be shy enough, or they will be not willing to look stupid in your eyes. That's why they will just keep on nodding their heads, and you will mistakenly, as a teacher, think that they are well aware of what to do. How can we check their understanding? With the help of what? I believe you already know that, because we discussed that.
ICQs.
Yeah, ICQs, right, you are. Instruction checking questions, yeah? Give an example of an instruction checking question.
For example, do you need to work in pairs or individually?
Or, thanks a lot, or you can nominate a particular person, for example, Afruza or Alexandra. Could you please tell me, so what our steps in dealing with the task should be? Yeah, so that's one more instruction checking question when so the students start presenting this information and judging from what they say, you are aware of so how they understood or misunderstood the task. And as I've already mentioned in item number 4, demonstration is always better than explanation. That's why, if possible and whenever possible, so use gestures. No one says that you should overuse them, far from that, but use them if possible. Just let us have a look at these pictures. And now I will ask you to decipher what these gestures mean or what they can mean. Any suggestions? Let me elicit that from you. I believe that you know a lot and you can cope with it. Number 1, Alexandra.
The first one, if we move to our fingers, it can be paper or notes, for example.
Okay, good suggestion. Or it can indicate that now, learners, or now, my dear students, you need to work how? In
pairs, in groups.
In pairs, right? You are in pairs. Yeah. Then number 2.
First think, then provide.
Kind
Maybe
of like
listening
think,
to
yeah. Think. So think it over, for example, and so this gesture shows that you are kind of waiting for what to elicit from your students. Then number 3.
Don't be shy, please.
Don't be shy. So it can be kind of like encouraging gesture.
Or all of you.
Or just all of you. So yeah, so this movement, yeah, so upward arrow means that you are kind of like inviting or encouraging everyone to talk. Then number 4.
Make it wider.
Okay.
Also, all of you can be.
Okay, extend your sentence, yeah, provided so a just more profound or a deeper explanation of something. Okay, then number 5. Usually the teacher says, wind up, you have
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes left, definitely. And the 6th one?
Make it by yourself. Don't show it to your partner.
Oh, right, you are. Do not show the answers to your partner because, like, whenever the students, it's not about being greedy, it's about writing a test and being quite fair, yeah? So we try to avoid cheating in the classroom, and that's why we can, so the teacher shows that you just should keep these answers to yourselves without unnecessary showing them to the rest of the group mates, because that's not quite fair. Okay. Then, as we've dealt with the instructions, right now I would like to ask you to work with these instructions. I believe that that will be high time for all of us to work in breakout rooms again, once again. Yulia Yurina, could you please assign us in breakouts for 6 minutes, and I will explain what you'll need to do. So read these 4 instructions. Then come up with the answers to the questions. Why do you think the difficulty occurred? And how could you give the same instruction in a more effective way? In other words, how could you improve on it for it to like for each of these instructions to sound better? So, Victoria, tell me please what you'll need to do.
Okay, so we need to work in groups and find the mistakes in these instructions and to provide our improvement to them.
Perfect. Perfect. Well done. Now let us be assigned in breakouts, and the link will be left in our Telegram chat. Okay. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, so the work was quite productive, at least in our room, in our breakout room. I believe that it was quite prolific in your rooms as well. Let us analyze what was wrong with the instructions and let us suggest the improvements. Remember that everyone can participate. So jot that down, jot that down. What's wrong here? Alexandra?
In our group, we thought that it's when your word exactly should be jotted down, and our version, it can be, for example, write down the main idea of the paragraph we just discussed.
Yeah, it's a phrasal verb actually, and not everyone is well aware of the meaning of it. I wonder if you'd mind just looking at question number 4 and then if you could just answer it. A teacher should be polite, but not over polite, yeah? Alina?
Yeah, so you're right, and that's why we decided that we should shorten this instruction and use imperative, like look at question number 4 and answer it.
Yeah, much simpler. I'd like you to read the text on page 4 and answer the first 3, then compare your answers with the person next to you. After that, write a short summary of the story and discuss this with your partner. Afruza?
This task is there is too many tasks in one long sentence, so learners may forget steps. We can say read the text on page 4, then wait for them to open the page 4, then answer first 3 questions. Also, we can wait for it. Then compare your answer with your partner. They can compare them and then write a short summary of the story. We can give them about 3-5 minutes for this task and then wait for the answers and discuss the summary with your partner. Also, give some minutes and do this task.
Yeah, well done, well done.
May I add something about
Alexandra, of course, of course.
Yeah, and in our group, we thought about dividing it into 2 parts, orally and writing parts. For example, the first part, it's read the text on page 4, then answer the first 3 questions and compare your answers. And we will wait some minutes for that. Then when the teacher understands that all pupils listen to his or her carefully, we should provide the next part. Write a short summary of the story and discuss the summary with your partner.
Well, these steps also can be reflected on the blackboard. For example, so if you wish to present all the instructions at once, you can somehow present short sentences or phrases indicating the steps, in dealing with the material. But they should be then done in writing on the blackboard so that your students, your learners, would not forget about them. Thank you. And the last one, look at the question at the bottom of the page and think about an answer. Anastasia, so I'd like to give the floor to you.
So our group decided that first of all, it's not specific enough. So the bottom of the page, well, in some cases, it's kind of obvious which question is that, but it's not always this way. So first of all, depending on the context, it can be not clear enough. Secondly, we think that the teacher should provide more instructions, like think about an answer. We can, for example, give students a minute, set a timer, and then discuss it all together, like a class discussion. Or maybe give them this assignment to discuss that in pairs, or maybe write down. So there's not enough instructions on what should you do after you read the question and think about an answer. So we decided that it's better to provide some extra information, like what to do with that question after
Some
answer.
specific, not extra, but some specific but quite necessary information. For example, look at question, let it be 4, or look at question 7, an answer, or just answer question 7. Much simpler, much shorter, more specific, and much clearer. Okay, perfect. Well done. So we are coming to an end because we are kind of overrunning our time by 3 minutes. So we will wind up. Everything comes quite logical. So, and here I've prepared one more slide for you about the feedback. Of course, during our next class, we will talk more about how to provide feedbacks, so how to deal with assessment, error correction, because that will be the topic of our next class. But currently, right now, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that whatever your students do, even if you are not quite satisfied as the teacher, with what they do, you need to provide the feedback, and you definitely need to find something positive, and it should be presented in the form of the sandwich. You should start with something positive, and in something positive, and the criticism should be that is objective, of course, not subjective. It should be specific, because you as a teacher should specify where the mistake was made and suggest the areas for improvement, so that your students would be well aware and would quit on making this kind of mistakes, or the similar mistakes. And let us come up with a final touch. Now it's a kind of guide of what the teacher shouldn't do. It presents actually the summary of what we've dealt with, but we discussed our session in the context of what the teacher should do. And now I'd like to sum up the lesson in the context of what the teacher should avoid doing, not to prevent learning from happening. So the teacher shouldn't excess his teacher talking time, shouldn't echo the students, shouldn't spoon feed them, but provide scaffolding whenever needed, shouldn't give complicated and unclear instructions, avoid checking understanding of instructions, ask, do you understand? Instead, we already mentioned, how these instruction checking questions should be formulated. The teacher shouldn't be afraid of, shouldn't have a fear of providing genuine feedback to his students, shouldn't be either over polite, like in case with these instructions, could you please mind, would you be so kind, what for? Like make it simpler, yeah, these instructions. Shouldn't fly with the fastest. That's why if you see as a teacher that it's only one or two kids who are like ready, like with the answers, maybe that's the time for you to stop and wait for more students, more learners to cope with the activity, so that you could ask different students all the time and not the same students. So the teacher shouldn't hear only language problems, because it means that you as a teacher should focus on the meaning rather than on just on the accuracy. It doesn't mean that you should pretend that you do not see all these language problems or accuracy. No, but focus more on fluency, yeah? As well as provide the language feedback, but do not focus on all the mistakes the students would make. And never establish this weak rapport, because creation of a poor working environment will lead you to no good. Okay, with this, we will finally quit our today's class. Let's call it a day. I'm quite thankful to all of you, not only for being present, but for being so active, for participating, for raising your hands, for not shouting, for being polite, for like expressing and showing this mutual respect. Yeah, so to your partners, your peers, and to us teachers. So thanks a lot. You were awesome. Hope to see you next class of ours that will be dedicated to assessment and error correction. And I believe that in spite of the fact that you already know a lot, there is still something for me to surprise you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. See you next time.
Thank you for
Thank you.
and thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.